Right now, another round of snow is hitting south central Wisconsin tonight. We have team coverage with everything you need to know. And COVID-19 arrived in Wisconsin 1 year ago today. We sit down with local leaders as they reflect on how the pandemic has changed everything over the past 12 months.
This is News 3 Now at 10.
Thanks for joining News 3 Now at 10. I'm Amanda Quintana. We have team coverage tonight as another round of snow makes its way through southern Wisconsin. Adam Duxter is on the roads in Rock County monitoring conditions, but we'll start with Dana Fulton outside on the weather patio with your first warn forecast. How long are we expecting this snow to last, Dana?
We're going to hold on to it overnight and through much of the morning on Sunday. Right now, it's coming down quite a bit for us on the patio in Madison, and it's also very windy out, so that blowing and drifting snow is going to be a concern for us overnight, even after the snowplows come through, especially on those rural areas. This is a look at our radar over the last several hours, so it's built in and is now staying with us. Some areas, especially along the very southern edge of the state, seeing a little more steady snowfall. Visibility reduced quite a bit throughout the area right now, and that's going to continue to be the scene overnight into tomorrow morning. Generally, temperatures have stayed at or below freezing, but we did get some reports of some light ice, especially off to the west and parts of Iowa and Richland County, with a little bit of freezing drizzle mixing in early with the snow. So that's going to lead to some really slick conditions tomorrow if we have that light ice layer below the snowfall. So just another reminder for folks that are heading out early in the day to give yourself plenty of time and to go extra slow. Winter weather advisories extending from Dane County north, winter storm warnings to the south, and that includes Rock County, where Adam Duxter is right now looking at those road conditions, which I can imagine are only deteriorating as the snow does pick up for us. Adam?
Yeah, Dana, check this out. I'm headed on to I-3990 from the 171 exit here in Janesville, and you can see this area has not seen a plow as of yet, and I'm talking really slick road conditions to where I'm driving 25 miles per hour. I'm not sure if you guys can see that vehicle up in front of me. That is the plow. They're trying their best to keep the roads clear at this point in the night, but it's still really, really slick depending on where you're at. On the interstate, which I've been going up and down the better part of tonight, you're lucky to find yourself going 35 miles per hour at the most. I checked with Rock County Communications, their 911 dispatch center, just before our 10 o'clock show started here, and they say they've seen about 10 to 12 weather-related incidents tonight between accidents and other things of that nature, cars sliding off the road and having to be towed. So if you do not have to head out tonight, don't. Stay off the roads as much as you can, and if you do, give yourself plenty of time. Take it incredibly slow and really, really, really give yourself extra time to get to your destination, because these roads are pretty darn slick at this point in the time.
Yeah, you can see a lot of snow on that road, Adam. Stay safe out there. Thank you. Crews in Madison are starting to plow major roadways tonight as the snow starts sticking. The Streets Division says roads will likely be challenging for most of tomorrow. They plan to plow and salt major streets on a loop. Residential streets and side roads will be plowed once there are 3 inches of snow and the snow has stopped. Cities and communities in our area are declaring snow emergencies tonight. Janesville and Clinton's orders started at 6 o'clock. Cars will not be allowed to park on city streets until it is lifted. Sun Prairie's emergency started about an hour ago at 9 o'clock. That will last until 6 p.m. tomorrow. We have a full list of snow emergencies on our homepage on channel3000.com. Today marks 1 year since UW Hospital treated its first patient experiencing symptoms of what was then a new virus. Testing would later prove that patient was the state's first case of COVID-19 and the 12th overall in the U.S. Gabriella Bachara reflects on the past year of the pandemic with Madison Mayor Satya Rhodes Conway and other key figures leading the fight against the virus in south central Wisconsin.
We all have our own ways of remembering.
I started keeping a little notebook with just sort of notes about, events or milestones in the pandemic.
The first time Madison Mayor Satya Rhodes Conway and other local leaders addressed COVID-19 was on February 5th, 2020, less than a week after a person first reported symptoms of a new virus in UW's emergency room.
A person's chances of getting sick from this novel coronavirus remains very low.
It didn't stay that way for long, with more than 540,000 cases in Wisconsin just 1 year later.
At the beginning, we were just trying to understand how is this thing transmitted? How do we protect ourselves? How do we protect people? What are risky behaviors?
City offices began closing, and by March 13th, Public Health Madison and Dane County Director Janelle Heinrich issued the first order in the state, restricting gatherings of 250 people or more. Less than 2 days after that, schools closed and gatherings were down to just 50 people.
It was a little overwhelming because it was all happening at the same time, right? Reviewing the information that had just emerged to then translate that into something that we would communicate out to the public within hours.
After 2 months of Governor Tony Evers' statewide Safer at Home order, it was struck down by the Wisconsin Supreme Court on May 13th. But Dane County immediately issued a similar local order, followed by 11 others that have been in place ever since.
I have never questioned whether or not we should have done the orders that we did and been as aggressive as we were from the beginning. I assumed that everyone else would be too.
Dane County Executive Joe Parisi, Rhodes, Conway, and Heinrich all agree the hardest part of fighting a pandemic is doing it alone.
We've been an island. And that you see, in surrounding counties and across the state, that there have been much looser restrictions. And that's, I think, has been, frankly, it's been a source of infection.
But throughout a year of losses, there's been victories worth celebrating. Testing, once a limited and long process, now completed locally with ease.
Calling down and saying, you said the result might be ready in 3 hours and it's taking longer and we need this information. And now, there's a lab right down the street.
Healthcare systems adapted to treat patients unable to leave their homes.
Telemedicine, virtual visits, making sure that there were protocols in the health system to keep people safe.
Neighbors helped neighbors.
As long as we're all looking out for one another, there'll always be someone looking out for us. And I think that's the strongest takeaway from this experience.
And although a vaccine rollout is taking longer than Wisconsinites would like, UW Health's Dr. Nasia Safdar says it's an incredible feat to get here so quickly.
That is a relatively small hurdle compared to the big thing that was done of developing it in the first place.
So when Rhodes Conway looks back through her notebook, she'll remember that leading a community through a pandemic isn't something she signed up for.
Is it something that I would have, wanted to do?
I don't think anybody would have wanted to.
Yeah, no, it's not something that you say, oh, sure, that sounds like fun.
But it's something she embraced.
But I do think that, you get the challenges that you're able to deal with. And I am proud of the way that we've handled this one.
In Madison, Gabriella Bachara, News 3 Now.
Our COVID-19 anniversary reflection continues tomorrow with city and state leaders sharing what the road to recovery looks like. We'll have that story tomorrow night on News 3 Now at 10. Today is also 1 year since the World Health Organization declared the coronavirus outbreak a global health emergency. In its January 30th announcement, the WHO urged countries not to restrict travel or trade to China. That's where the virus is believed to have originated. The outbreak was not upgraded to a pandemic until mid-March. At the time, there were fewer than 10,000 cases around the world. Last week, the global case total surpassed 100 million. Over the past 12 months, Wisconsin has gone from one single case now to more than 540,000. DHS data shows an increase of nearly 1,500 cases over the past day. That's about 150 more than the 7-day average. 33 more people have died, with the state inching closer to 6,000 COVID-related deaths. But there is some good news. More than 500,000 vaccine doses have now been administered in the state. Meanwhile, Arizona is the 30th state to identify at least one case of the UK variant of the coronavirus. Health officials there confirmed the first 3 cases yesterday. The new strain is believed to be more contagious, but there's no evidence that symptoms are more severe. Experts say the variant could be the dominant COVID strain in the U.S. by March. Starting Monday night, a new federal mandate will require people to wear masks while using any form of public transportation. The CDC's order requires masks that cover the nose and mouth be worn both on the ride and while waiting for it. This includes buses, trains, taxis, airplanes, and rideshare vehicles like Uber. Children under 2 and people with a disability who cannot wear a mask are exempt. The CDC says it reserves the right to enforce the order through criminal penalties. More local news now. The village of Brooklyn will meet virtually Monday night to discuss abolishing its police department. The Brooklyn department's contract would be replaced by one with the Dane County Sheriff's Office. The department currently has a full-time chief, a full-time patrol officer, and 2 part-time workers. The City of Madison clerk is reminding you to check your mailbox for absentee ballots this weekend. Ballots went out this week for next month's spring primary elections. Ballot drop boxes around the city are also now open. They're the same ones that were used last year ahead of the November elections. If you still want to request an absentee ballot for next month, you can visit myvote.wi.gov. There's more to come on News 3 Now at 10. President Biden is looking to reform the nation's court system, starting at the top with the Supreme Court. Plus, in the wake of this week's short squeeze on Wall Street, a Midwestern dad is a newfound millionaire. That story after the break. Have a nice day.
I'm going to. Yeah. And you've dealt with that, right?
I'm a little old to count down the days, but my ski trip to Cascade Mountain with my cousin each year, so much fun. We used to pretend like we were flying. Now, we really do. My dad and my uncle like that we still ski free. But Noah and I, we just have fun. See you there.
Dear Winter, I'm coming. My squad of 15 vehicles with all-wheel drive and four-wheel drive is ready to take you on. Safety's the name of my game. So you better bundle up. Toyota.
Right now, get $1,500 customer cash on a new 2021 Highlander Hybrid. Visit Toyota.com to learn more. Find yours at Toyota.com. Toyota. Let's go places.
Imagine facing Wisconsin's bitter cold winter without a warm home, or the blistering heat of summer without power, then having to make